Gavin Newsom just said the quiet part out loud. And if you think these people are still fit to lead, this clip will change your mind. You guys gotta check this video out.
You have been very clear that, yes, you are considering a potential run for president in 2028. I think it's fair to say that anyone who decides to run in 2028, including former President Biden's surrogates, are going to have to answer questions about what they did and what they said in 2024 around President Biden's presidency. You stood by him till the end after that disastrous debate performance, even when top Democrats were calling for him to step down. Did you ever have concerns, Governor, about his capacity
I go home
to
with the
serve
one.
another 4 years?
No, I never had that direct. I just talked to the president a few hours ago. I've been privileged to have a relationship with the president. I spent almost 2 hours with him in December, right before, during the transition in the Oval Office. And my experience, his expression, gave me no pause, no doubt. Let me finish. I was proud to stand there, proud to make the case for 15.4 million jobs, proud to make the case for the CHIPS and Science Act, the industrial policy that was worker-centered, proud to make the case for an infrastructure package that actually delivered a real bill and is delivering real jobs all across this country. Proud to stand tall as he was a counter-prevailing point to President Xi and what they're doing in low-carbon green growth and how they're going to dominate the future as it relates to green energy. And he was a counter-prevailing point. I was proud of the fact that he supported 400 bipartisan bills. It did more for...
I just got two questions for you guys, and I want you to be honest when you do answer these. First, like the video, but do you think this country would have sunk if Gavin Newsom and Kamala would have been the people behind Joe Biden, if Joe Biden was to win, or if Kamala was to win? Do you think this country would have sunk? And how do you think 2028 is going to turn out? Because this guy, Gavin Newsom, he's so slick at the tongue. He reminds me of of a of a Barack Obama, the guy that knows how to hide the problems and talk so good about what he can do, but he's not going to do any of it. That's the type of guy that I think Gavin Newsom is. Let's keep going, guys. Make sure you're liking the video. Don't forget to comment what you think.
Vets and has started to address the issue of gun violence. I was proud of that legislative package of accomplishments. The one exception as it relates to the interaction I had with him that gave me pause, one, was the fundraiser in Southern California. And all of us were a little taken aback, but we also were mindful that he had been to Europe twice in about a week, and for the grace of God, go any of us with jet lag and being exhausted. That person came back on that debate night, and that certainly gave all of us pause.
If it gave you pause after the debate, why didn't you sound the alarm then?
I did privately, with grace and humility. He was going to make the right decision. And so for me, it wasn't my job to go out there. My job was to let him, give him the space. I just have a...
In other words, right, he didn't want to admit that Trump was right. That's the one thing about these Democrats. They hate to admit they were wrong. And that's exactly what Gavin Newsom is saying here. He's just trying to use the word salad. That's all he's doing.
Different, good people can disagree. I have a different approach to all of this. And I lost my father. I lost him right around election for governor. He survived just to see me elected. So many of the attributes of my father I remember. He reminds me so much. I'll be candid with you. This is me speaking as a human being. Reminds me of Joe Biden. I wasn't going to do that to him. He was going to make the right decision, and he did. Question is the timing, okay. But the bottom line, I was proud and continue to be proud to make a case for his record, and certainly in contrast to the record of this president.
Governor, did you legitimately believe that he was capable of serving as president until January of 2029?
Yeah, I think my focus was frankly situational. It was making sure Donald Trump didn't get back into office to experience everything that we're experiencing today, and there was no interaction I had that suggested otherwise.
What do you say to Americans who feel misled by you and other top Democrats
in what respect? He decided to step
about the
down.
mental acuity of President Biden, that they wish you'd sounded the alarm sooner to give way for an open convention?
I'm not going to substitute myself for someone else or for popular opinion. I'm going to express my relationship to my truth with the former President of the United States, including at the end of his term, quite literally, in December, which was a masterclass of foreign policy and domestic policy, which I will never forget as we walk through not just the election, but we're walking through the world we're living in. There was nothing to suggest what you just said or others have suggested in terms of my interaction. That's all I can be accountable for.
Let's talk about former Vice President Kamala Harris. She says she lost because she only had 107 days to run, among some other factors. In your view, why do you think she lost the 2024 race?
It's a deeper forensic. I think I'm up to 26 pages of other people's opinions on it. I'm not even making that up. By the way, it's, I think, actually 24, to be fair. Let me not overstate it. And there's all kinds of theories. I mean, we can go, you want to go through the list? We'll need an extra hour.
What do you think was at the top of the list?
I don't know. I'm reflecting on it. I think time will have a more of an understanding. We can start with inflation. We can talk with interest rates. We don't talk about interest rates enough. We can talk about incumbency. We can talk about Israel. We can talk about immigration and the border. We can go through a myriad of lists. We can talk about Joe Rogan. We can talk about woke. We can talk about the 107 days. We can talk about the lack of an open primary. We can talk about The View. Again, I'm on page 6 of the 24 pages. And how you unpack
That right there, you could literally play the video back 10 seconds, 10 to 15 seconds. That is the Democratic playbook. Blame everyone except your failed policies, your broken promises, and everything you do wrong to Americans. Blame everyone else. Blame everything. They'll blame this stuff on butterflies if they could. Animals. They'll blame this on everybody. The Democrats are snakes. Snakes bite everything. And that's exactly what I'm seeing out of this guy, Gavin Newsom.
that, how you stack that in terms of everything, I think needs still a little bit more forensics, a little more analysis.
Do you think if former President Biden had stayed in the race, given that you did stay with him till virtually the end, do you think he could have won?
I think the prevailing winds there were a lot of headwinds. And people were looking for something fundamentally different. They were looking for change. I think the inflation scars were real. I think if I think about my own surrogacy, you know, I talked about the aggregate a lot. I talked about the economy that was booming. It was the best economy since the 1960s, the lowest black unemployment, lowest unemployment for women, lowest unemployment for people with disabilities, the lowest uninsured rate in American history. We had cut child poverty in half. That all happened during the Biden-Harris administration. I was making those points. I was making the point around GDP. I was making the point that inflation was cooling after the inflation scars at 9.1 and moving in the right direction. I was making the point around the American experience in the aggregate, not what American people were experiencing. And I think that was a legit disconnect in terms of the campaign, our communication, and others that would have made it a very challenging election.
In her book, the former vice president writes that she scrambled to reach prominent Democrats hours after President Biden exited the race. And she said that you responded to her call, quote, by saying, "Gavin Newsom hiking will call back." He never did. Is that what happened?
100%. And I sent out an endorsement in a few minutes after that. It was one of her first endorsements. The reason she was calling. I've known Kamala all my life. The last person she needs to reach out to is me. So I learned the news. I wanted to get in touch with the Biden folks. I was out on an actual hike. And I said, I was like, Kamala, you got 1 million people to call. And we were literally working as she reached out. It was a voicemail, by the way, unknown number for the record. And as she was on to her next calls, we were already on to our press release endorsing her. So I don't even know why I was even in the book.
Did you feel like she took a swipe at you in her book?
It's all good. We've known each other for 20 years. And I think it's familiar.
He just knows that the Democrats are snakes, like I just said previously, and she snaked them. That's all he could do is put on this fake smile.
I think she was having a little fun.
So no hard feelings.
Oh my
that
God,
she wrote
just the
that.
opposite. Give me a break.
You've said, as we've discussed, you are considering a run for president, and you've said you'll make a decision about whether to run for president after the midterms.
Yeah, I mean,
Governor, let me ask you. Why do you want to be president?
I don't. I'm not suggesting I am. I'm saying in response to someone talked about it, and I hate when nothing I dislike more than the politician that sits there and lies to you. And we all just sit there rolling our eyes going, give me a break. So as it relates to that, there's nothing on the right. I'm focused on Prop 50. I'm focusing on fair and free elections. And to the extent fate, the future, there's an alignment, you have a big enough why, you have a what and a how, you meet a moment, and that moment presents itself in a year and a half, we'll see what happens.
Huge translation there. He's been running since day one. The Democrats always don't know until power's on the table. This guy, Gavin Newsom, speaks in long paragraphs and always says nothing. Trump speaks in verifiable results while the world listens. That's the difference. Intelligence versus illusion. Let me know what you guys think about the quick video. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe if you're new. And as always, let me know what you react to. We're out.